about the power of thoughts and attitude. Even though I'm going to talk about a few serious events that happened in my life, I'm going to try to keep the tone upbeat and positive, just like my personality. In June of 2014, I was playing a tournament in Mexico when I felt a large lump in my neck. I thought it was a muscle spasm or something, no big deal. I was actually FaceTiming with my mom when I first touched the lump, and I told her about it right away since she's a doctor. When I got home, I did some scans, and they told me that everything seemed to be okay. I was so relieved because I had some major booty kicking to do in Europe that following week. My mom traveled with me to Wimbledon, and while we were there, the lump just kept getting bigger and bigger. Little things like putting my shirt on started becoming uncomfortable. My mom just kind of knew that something was very wrong, and the tournament doctor quickly arranged for an emergency biopsy. The day before my first round of qualifying, I was told that the results came in. That was probably one of the most stressful moments of my life. For some reason, I had a feeling it was bad news even before I got to the office, and everyone's body language soon confirmed my fears. The doctor asked me how I was doing, and I tried to manage a smile, but in my head I was thinking, just get to the point, lady. Like, who cares how my day is going? All I want to know is what's wrong with me. I didn't really know what to think, but nothing could have prepared me for the news that I was about to hear. She said I had cancer. As soon as she said that, I immediately blacked out. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience and kept repeating to myself that there must be a mistake. I had some back pain and was scheduled to get a massage later that afternoon, but couldn't even imagine walking into the physio room and seeing the other players. In the midst of my confusion, I thought to myself, here I am, an 18-year-old perfectly fit athlete, always paying such close attention to my health, just diagnosed with cancer. I cried hysterically. For a moment, I asked God, how could you let this happen to me? What am I supposed to do now? Am I going to die? I didn't know much about cancer, but automatically associated it with death. The bus ride back to the hotel was really weird. I was trying to act normal, but I didn't even know what normal felt like anymore. The physical therapist who had accompanied me to the office told me that if I wanted to go home, I could, but that's not me. I'm a fighter. I decided that I wasn't going to let this thing stop me. I came to England with one goal, and that was to get through the qualifying and play in the main draw. After telling her my decision to stay and compete, she advised me to keep the news to myself so that I could stay focused on the tournament. I ended up winning all 3 of my qualifying matches and beat a girl ranked top 30 in the world in my first round of main draw. Now, the thing that kept me going was the fact that I was still in denial. I managed to convince myself that they had made a mistake. After my illness was finally explained to me, I realized that I had a great chance of winning the battle. When I got back to the hotel after winning my last round of qualifying, I looked at my mom and proceeded to ask a question that I didn't even understand myself. I asked her, why not me? A little voice in my head was like, what? Oh no, she didn't. As bizarre as this may sound, I truly felt chosen, and that God felt like I was brave enough to overcome this crisis in His glory. I'm not new to adversity. I spent most of 2011 to the summer of 2012 injured. Stress fractures, torn ligaments, you name it. That was also a period when I had one of my biggest growth spurts. Every time I would heal from an injury and start playing again, I got another one somewhere else. I was so uncoordinated that the coaches often called me Bambi on ice. Going back a year earlier in 2010, a magnitude 7 earthquake devastated Haiti. My dad was trapped under our house for 11 hours. He barely escaped death. To this day, he's paralyzed in his left arm, and because of all his injuries, is no longer able to continue his practice as a gynecologist. That was and still is a really hard time for our family. My parents invested almost all their earnings into building a wonderful hospital in Haiti, and in just a few seconds, we lost everything. Everything happens for a reason. Our mission is to find the hidden message. I feel like I have been blessed with an unparalleled sense of optimism that has carried me through these hard times. I try to face every obstacle with a smile, and to me, that's a gift. Sometimes we don't agree with God's timing, but it's all for a greater purpose. The challenges and roadblocks we face are meant to show how committed we are to God as He guides our spiritual growth. To be honest, I went through periods where I was upset with God after being told I had cancer. This was the biggest moment in my career. I finally broke into the top 100 in the world rankings, and now I had to fight for my life. Little did I know how much of a blessing this illness would end up being in my life. One thing that I firmly believe in is that God not only gives you what you can handle, He gives you what you need. And this is exactly what I needed. After the tournament, when people started finding out about my diagnosis, my phone blew up with text messages and calls. I'm sorry that you're going through this, you're too young to have to deal with this, or how could this happen to you, and so on. I appreciated everyone's concern, but I knew right away that that wasn't going to help me at all. I turned my phone off. Click. I did not want to feel like a victim. My interpretation of a victim is someone who yearns for compassion and attention, but that doesn't get you very far. At the end of the day, you still have to face the challenge. It's not going to go away. That's exactly what I realized once I started the chemo. Only I knew how much pain I was in. My family couldn't possibly understand. Now, there were some days when I felt really crappy. After my first round of chemo, I lost hope. I didn't see how I was going to be able to deal with feeling so horrible every day for 3 months. I spent days where I could only stomach a few bites of food. But on the bright side, I was totally looking like a supermodel. I was just waiting for Bug to give me a call. I also had to cut my hair, which was quite terrifying at first, but I really like it now. I told my trainer I feel more aerodynamic when running, right? It's probably just in my head. A lot of people don't realize how strong they really are. We have so much fire inside, so much determination, and sometimes we actually get in the way of ourselves because we want to feel like victims. We want people to feel sorry for us. Imagine if we embraced every obstacle with open arms and said, "Bring it on, baby! You can't defeat me." That attitude is already half the battle. That kind of mentality is exactly what helped me go out on the court every day for an hour, even when I felt like throwing up. I stayed in the moment. As an athlete, being in the moment is something I didn't practice enough. Everything in life, not only sports, is very result-oriented. It's all about performance. And if you don't perform, you will be replaced. That's a lot of pressure. No one knows what lies ahead. All you can control is what you are doing today to make yourself a better person. I spent a lot of time painting and knitting during the chemo. Come to think of it, I'm probably the youngest knitter in Waymanton. I also started meditating. I wanted to get to know myself on a deeper level. I started with questions like, who am I? Who is Vicky? What makes me angry? What makes me happy? What do I expect from myself? By doing that, I became better equipped to deal with certain situations. I became my own best friend. You have have to love yourself and remind yourself how strong you are, how pretty or handsome you are, how smart you are. When you look in the mirror, just say, dang, I look good. The world's not ready for fabulous me today. Positive reinforcement goes hand in hand with attitude. During practices and tournaments, I had to deal with negative thoughts constantly. You can't do this, or you're too tired. Mr. Negative was rambling away in my head. I never did anything to change those thoughts because I enjoyed feeling sorry for myself. I always knew that I had to change my ways of thinking to grow, but it really took going through cancer to understand it fully. I now feel that I'm a much stronger person because I have a positive partnership with myself. I can't stress this enough because encouraging yourself allows you to discover assets you didn't even know existed. I really love this quote from Donald Trump. Actually, let's all say it together. Are you guys okay with that? Let's say it together. Get going, move forward, aim high, plan to take off. Don't just sit on the runway and hope someone will come along and push the plane. It simply won't happen. Change your attitude and gain some altitude. Woo! So, how am I doing today? I kicked cancer's butt. I'm no longer ill. I have a new diet plan consisting primarily of fruits and vegetables. I'm on the tennis court again. I go to the gym every day and I'm working really hard on rebuilding my body. I learned the importance of a healthy mind. A healthy body isn't enough, the mind is the pilot. What are my goals? First and foremost, to stay healthy. I want to be the best darn tennis player that I can be. And remember those questions I mentioned earlier through meditation? I'm still committed to my spiritual growth. It's not just an overnight thing, the journey continues every day. Don't let your past experiences define who you are. You are in the driver's seat. And remember that with this, you have the ability to overcome anything. Thank you.